What can happen when we truly see each other? When we lift our eyes a little further than our own reality? When we listen to experiences of people from around the world that ignite ways to collectively tell new stories? What can happen? For over 2 decades, Africa Exchange has listened to and partnered with individuals, churches, and Kenyan communities to make this world a better place. Through cross-cultural encounters, powerful partnerships, innovative initiatives, and communal collaborations, Africa Exchange has done transformative work throughout Kenya. Join us as we reflect on 25 years of efforts to restore mutuality in a fragmented world.
I was always energized by introducing people from this continent, North America, to Africa because it meant so much to me. It was part of who I was, and all of us seek to be known at some level. And so I enjoyed that cross-cultural kind of interaction. The service learning sort of formed a backbone for me, and when I was in seminary, I wondered what that might look like for engaging people in mission.
This calling that both Sam and I had to return to Kenya was pretty clear early on, and we started dreaming about what that might look like, what an organization might look like that would allow us to minister in that place. So we also wanted to bring together the priority of exposing people from this side to the riches that are found there. And so that was where the name was born.
Rather than exploiting, I thought, what about an idea of exchange? What if instead of going to Africa to tell and to teach and to give, we also went to learn and to receive and to understand? So the birth of Africa Exchange had to do with the exchange that might happen if we engage people as fellow people. And so profound mutuality is the basis of the concept of Africa Exchange.
I can remember the very first mission immersion experience to Kenya in 1996. So I've been doing this for over 25 years. Kutana Kenya is a mission of integrity that gives dignity to people in all walks of life so that their lives and our lives can become consistent with the mission of God in the world. What surprises me more than anything else, I think, is the way our students are transformed, their way of life. Because before coming, they have certain set of ideas, what the place will look like, what is going to happen. As they return, they are transformed. So it's so important, I think, to have this kind of exposure to other people in another culture, so that we can celebrate together our common humanity. That is the greatest lesson I've learned. And I've seen that again and again among our students.
What began as mission immersion experiences with Baptist Theological Seminary at Richmond expanded to multi-year partnerships with Passport Incorporated, Mercer University, and several partner churches. Today, Kutana Kenya actively explores the intersection between mission, development, and the natural environment through an annual series of cultural encounters.
It's not only a fun experience because it's educative and you get to see other things. You find that we went to different communities and different areas, of which even some of us who live in this country, we don't know how those communities live. Even for me, it's a new experience for me, and I'm a person living here.
My Kutana, Kenya experience has been a whirlwind. This is my first time really out of the States, and so I flew across the Atlantic Ocean and now I'm in Kenya. So that in itself was a big journey. But I think something that kind of defines Kutana, Kenya for me is the connectedness that I've learned, not only with other people, but also with the earth and ultimately with God.
On the local level, Africa Exchange began to encounter the impact of poverty among children in marginalized communities, and a call to address the root causes began to develop. Through appropriate technology, education, and primary health initiatives, they developed priorities with communities to address the challenges communities were facing and to bring about positive change in the lives of children.
Kenya, like any other countries in the world, is a beautiful country, is a touristic destination, very rich culture with over 42 tribes living in the country. We have the tea plantations, we have the coffee plantations, we have pyrethrum, we have so much that every community or in different parts of the country, they practice large and actually small-scale farmers. With different diversities coming together, that makes our country beautiful, and that makes Kenyans who they are. But having said that, education has been also a major problem in terms of the government not being able to reach out to each and every corner of the country. This is where Africa Exchange comes in handy to work with those communities so that their children, they can actually access education and get health support and be able to be impacted so that at some time, they will also impact others within their same or their very own community.
Every one of our integrated child development centers, there is a community that is needing that center and is making the center function. The community is where the children come from that populate these integrated child development centers. And the committees are made up of parents and teachers and leaders in the community that actually meet and talk about the day-to-day functions and the challenges that they're facing in their particular communities.
For the last 13 years, children have passed through this ICDC. Some are in secondary schools, some are in colleges, some are in universities, some are still in primary schools. So I usually pray to my God that as each day passes by, there is one person, there are two people, there are three that will come back one day to this community and pay it back, that we may get doctors, we may get teachers, we may get pastors, that will make this community one day turn into a good community where people will value education, people will value good life.
Through partnership and collaboration, Africa Exchange has constructed and equipped 12 integrated child development centers and counting. These ICDCs host over 800 children under the age of 6 each year. As host communities have realized their own potential, they have further developed 8 full primary schools through their own efforts. Africa Exchange follows these children through primary school, and those that do very well are eligible to compete for a spot in the Scholars Program, sponsoring 24 children at a time to continue their education through secondary school, some even going to university.
Because the family can't afford the school fees, then I was almost to be given out for marriage. I'm so happy because if it is not this chance and if it is not this scholarship, I'm very sure I will not be able to study. And that's how I escaped marriage. I joined first year in Kisii University, main campus, and I'm doing well there. I thank God for this scholarship. I promise I will try all my best to change my community or to give back to the society in helping those young girls to be educated and forced marriage to stop.
While integrated child development centers serve the needs of vulnerable children, they also act as resource hubs for the entire community, centers of excellence where communities begin to tap into their collective talents and resources. Here, they are empowered to engage new initiatives on their own, decreasing reliance on outside resources. These collaborative efforts help children and communities learn, grow, and experience what God intended for all of us.
There's so many areas of work that we support and educate people about that enables them to function in the best way that they can where they are. The practical things that are needed at each place, whether it's a well or rain catchment or beekeeping.
That may be solar bore wells or boreholes that have a solar pumping mechanism. It might be fish farming or anything that has to do with the capacity of that community to be able to attend to their own solutions of their own problems. Development initiatives ends up being the mechanism for the sustainability of the centers that we create, the integrated child development centers.
The newest priority is having to do with the environment, keeping Earth with a real focus on trees, planting trees, and not only planting trees at the centers, but in the homesteads of the children, and educating families about why that is a long-term action for their thriving.
Since 80% of children in Kenya are dependent on subsistence agriculture of one form or another, it could be crops or livestock, we want to teach the children, even 6-year-olds, how important a tree is or a grassland is for their survival. Without trees, there's erosion, there is landslides, there is flooding, a loss of topsoil, and a loss of what can make agriculture possible. So every child has to plant trees in our program. Every child plants 3 trees a year. And when you multiply that by 800 to 1,000 children, that's something. I remember one of the Kenyan elders one time on the opening of one of the centers, he said, "I can't believe that somebody we don't even know on the other side of the world has committed to helping us with this project and has trusted us to do our part in making this project a success." And Africa Exchange wants to continue to be the facilitator of that engagement.
What we hope to achieve is to see the entire communities that we are working with thriving and having enough capacity to be able to reach to their own people, and that they become the catalyst for other communities to come and look and see what they've done themselves that can be replicated elsewhere or in other communities.
The work Africa Exchange does, it's probably a drop in the bucket, but it makes the world of difference if you are one of those children. And I am proud of the fact that we have done our small work well.
As Africa Exchange looks into the future, there is so much more to do. There are more children that deserve the chance to not only survive, but to thrive. There are more young adults eager to pursue further education to secure their future. Young women who want to choose motherhood on their own terms from positions of strength. There are more men and women that desire to lead flourishing, resilient communities, and there are more trees ready for planting. Africa Exchange is ready. Are you?